Hello everybody and welcome to Lush and Salty Aquariums. My name is Stefan. Thank you for coming to my channel. So it's springtime, even if today in Chicago it doesn't feel like it. It's nippy out and the heaters are still doing their thing, both for my heat and for the aquarium. So no relief yet, but I did some spring cleaning and know this, I realize I was at this aquarium just a few videos ago, but I have transformed it by removing, I don't know, it's hard, you don't weigh, you don't measure, but I pulled out a whole bunch of plant matter, and now I can finally show you all the inhabitants. I can't do anything about the reflection necessarily. I'll work on that as I film. But look at those wild pencilfish, Nanostomus marginatus, I think. Now, at my LFS, he has two kinds of these, the tank bred and the wild caught. And these two here are the wild caught. And the wild caught are more brilliant than the tank raised. And I have both in here, and they're beautiful fish, don't get me wrong, but with the wild caught version, these two are doing their little dance. It's either two males sparring or a male-female courting. I should have looked closer before I got behind the camera, but that yellow is far more brilliant in the wild caught. Now, I am just paraphrasing the local fish shop, but he's my guy at Ocean Design Aquariums, my favorite LFS in the Chicago area. Well worth your visit. Tony is a great dude, and I got a couple of these from him on a trade for some plants. Now you could see the yellow versus the less, it's hard to make a case because they're coming in and out of the light, got the reflection to deal with, but for my money, at about 3 for 18 bucks, something like that, 6 to 8 bucks a fish, it's the best looking pencil fish. You could spend 25 on one of the coral reds a piece, or 19, or for Moonlight Aquatics they're a really good price, but then you're paying shipping. So all in all, for the color of a coral or a Namaya or a Cenepa, these are way better than just some budget low calorie version. These are the real deal. I love these fish. They have spawned for me in here. I have raised up a couple, which I found swimming amongst the top here. But look at how much different. I mean, you're not going to compare videos, I get that, but I pulled out so much you couldn't even see that bogwood behind the mystery snail there. It was so filled with java fern and the roots of that rotala. I've only got one strand left, and it's not looking good, but it'll bounce back. When I cleaned it out, it was literally a softball, right? Between that lily pipe that needs to be cleaned and the pothos. They're a big softball sized portion of that immersed growth of rotala. Took it all out, left a couple strands. I'll end up having to do that again, probably end of May. And so here's a fish. I have such a nice group of them, but I'm never able to show them off, and so now might be my best opportunity. Let's find the right angle, and it's the chile rasbora. There's probably a dozen in here, and look at them. They're so beautiful. They're brave. The only reason I couldn't really show them off before is they blended into the incredible amount of plant matter. But here we see a number of them cavorting, and of course the rocket or clown killifish. I'm gonna get this focused. Jesus, excuse me. There's a female, she's just sort of lollygagging. I've got about 6 or 8 of those as well. I cleaned out the bottom here, which was full of cryptocorn. There's another pencilfish. And if we go in, you can see the neon blue rasboras and Pygmy Corydoras, as well as the pencilfish, all within that incredible root structure. Here, I more or less left the rotala. I did clip some of it, but imagine that over here plus pulling a bunch of Java fern and cryptocorn out, and we've got a cleaner aquarium. And I love the jungle vibe. I'm all about the plants, but it is fun to do a refresh, and frankly, it's necessary. Your tank, if it gets so overcrowded and there's zero water movement, I mean, it changes the whole ecosystem, and some of the fish will do really well in those conditions, but some won't. And it's also, you know, in the beginning, it was about the fish, and we should be able to see our fish. So you got to strike a happy balance. And I'm pretty good with that there, especially when some of the stuff I clipped and chopped rebounds a little bit. Like I had some of this really neat Bucephalandra, and that's just a loose piece there. It hasn't really found its footing. It was part of the structure of plants that you see here. Man, I get a C- for videography here. But the Cenepa, or excuse me, the wild pencilfish, and that's actually the common name for this. I'm not just saying, it's not an adjective, but the wild pencilfish, Nanostomus marginatus. You see the whole group. As I said, about half are tank raised, half are wild caught. Obviously, they don't know that. They're just happy to have their friends in here. And I've got a group of the chile rasboras, which I've shown and talked about. And I have the rocket killifish. Right now, the tank is really being dominated by these pencilfish. And I beg your pardon, because I was hoping for a complete symphony. There's a rocket killie. And I can never get that. I don't know, it's something about the camera, because they will play and frolic for me when I come up front. But the camera is a different story. I have all kinds of different Neocaridina in here, and now we can see the different color forms. This whole bottom was filled with crypts like this, all of it, all the way across. And I pulled and pulled and pulled, and in some cases I just chopped. The hell with it, right? It'll come back. But I can see my substrate, which is kind of rare. Here's a funny thing. This is Pogostem and octopus. This one strand here, so different looking because it's obviously not in its desired situation. I'll do a flip pan and show you some young Pogostem and octopus. That's what it wants to be. But I've left this one in here because, I don't know, kind of fun at the edge there, a little frond, a little palm, and I'm always curious to see how plants will respond in different conditions. And sometimes their ability to survive is just as interesting as when they thrive. Like when you give them everything they need and you get the result I showed you just a moment ago. I mean, that's at expectation, but I don't have an expectation for that particular plant, but it's been in there almost 2 years. I see some chile rasboras. You see them right there in the center? You could probably have 30 in here and it wouldn't matter. As a matter of fact, I might add to that group. This is only a 12-gallon fish tank, folks, and probably only half of that in terms of water, if not less. But look at that footprint. Is that the coolest thing? These long aquariums, don't sleep on them. It gives the effect of a massive ecosystem in a really small footprint. Now, and if that tank was on mine next down here, it's so easy to get your hands down there because honestly, it's like less than a foot tall. Maybe it is 1 foot tall, but very easy to work. And a lot of you, I know, I watch your videos, you're all about the long tanks, and there's good reason for it. They also sit so well on the rack. They're just something very, I don't know, architecturally awesome. You can center it on your rack and put some cool plants and artifacts on either side, as opposed to like putting a bunch of 10-gallon or 20 gallons and putting them the long way. You know, that's fish room mechanics, right? For breeders and stuff. For those of us hobbyists who just want to look at something beautiful and interesting, these long aquariums, and you see the two there. Now, I mean, that's not what's going on down there, but that doesn't mean I can't be just super fond of what is happening up here. How about these two discus? My daughter found these in a vintage shop in Charleston. Aren't they just awesome? All right, folks, I was hoping for a more kaleidoscopic show of fish from this tank, but nevertheless, if you have any comments or questions, hit me up. As always, keep your hands in the tank, and ciao for now.